Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Priscilla and I'm from Pretty in Pate, and I like to crochet, and I currently picked up knitting. So I'm actually knitting I hope I'm knitting a sweater. So far so good. I'm not too mad about it. I think my gauge is slightly off, but that's besides the point and besides the point of this video. I wanted to put a video up for my goals for a small business. So I figured maybe these goals are, relatable to you, or maybe you can see how I run things in my noggin. I don't know. I had seen a bunch of creators do this last year and I thought it was super cool. And I tend to keep my goals and like dreams to myself. I usually write them down in a notebook or I write them on my phone. But yeah, I figured I wanted to try to be a little more vulnerable. Yeah. So I'm going to go through my goals of 2025. Maybe I'll touch on some 2024 goals that may have carried over to this year. But yeah. So my first goal of 2025 is to try to create more content on YouTube. This is it's definitely going to be the hardest one for me, only because it's just the editing part is very hard for me, only because I feel like it takes me so long, and I'm sure that's normal, right? I'm sure that's normal. Okay. So hopefully I can create more content on YouTube. I've been trying to draft out certain things that I wanted to record. I do have a couple tutorials that are like kind of like halfway finished, only because I don't have that much time in the day to like complete the tutorial. I crochet really fast, but I don't tend to crochet fast while talking or trying to teach something. So yeah, but I do have a couple tutorial videos I wanted to post within the next couple months. I believe there's one releasing this month of January for a granny square scarf, and then in February for Valentine's Day, I was hoping to release the Little Scrappy tutorial. I was going to do the 3 to 4 year size. So hopefully that is published in February. So I do have a plan for content on YouTube. I was just hoping to be maybe less sporadic, if that's a thing. So that is something that I wanted to try to accomplish this year. I remember last year when my goals was to try to create more content on Instagram and be a little bit more open and vulnerable about certain things and not be a gatekeeper. And I was sharing pretty much everything and all the things. So like yarn colors, patterns, like gadgets and stuff like that I was using. I was just sharing it all because at the end of the day, I feel like we're a community and that we should share what we use, what we don't use, what we like, what we don't like. So I figured that was one of my goals, and I think I crushed it. So I'm going to keep the momentum going on Instagram, but I'm hoping to create more content on YouTube. And also, by the way, I'll never look at the camera lens. Hello. It seems like I have like this weird anxiety that the thing is going to stop recording. So I keep looking at the little red button on the side. It's like not even the viewfinder. I'm looking at the red button, making sure that it's bleeping. But anyway, I get scared it's gonna die or something. Or like the storage will be full. Whatever. Besides the point. So the second goal is I wanted to try to use up more of my yarn stash. So it seems like I will do a really good job at using whatever I have in stock. Like in my office, like I would probably go through, let's say like 10 skeins of yarn in a month, and I was like, great. But then at the end of the day, I was ordering like 20 skeins while I was using those 10 skeins. So I'm running out of room. I'm not going to buy any more shelves or cabinets or anything like that. Like I have enough storage stuff. I just need less yarn. I know that might be really hard to do, especially because there's always like new yarns coming out or something really pretty, or maybe there's a new pattern that came out and you don't have the yarn for it. So I'm going to try to be mindful of the yarn that I buy this year and making sure that when I buy the yarn, I have like something to use it for, or I don't know, just replenishing the stock that I used instead of adding to it. I hope that made sense. That's my second goal. My third goal is to be a little bit more present and take care of time management. How rude. So as a small business owner, basically your brain is like wired to work 7 days a week. It's hard for me to take a break, and it's hard for me to stop thinking about like what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day, or my list of things to do is always like it's getting longer and longer instead of shorter. And so I was hoping that this year I could try to figure out like a schedule. So like take at least 1 or 2 days a week where I am just not doing anything for work and just being more present with my family and just hanging out with my daughter. And yeah, no, I know that might be difficult only because I do provide for my family. So sometimes I have to put like being present on the back burner to just try to accomplish something. But I'm gonna do my best to try to manage my time better. Oh my gosh. Yeah, manage my time better. We'll see how that works out. I was hoping my daughter's in school part-time. So the days that she's not in school, I was thinking those are the 2 days I could use as my time off. Um, but sometimes when she takes a nap and stuff, I do work. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how I could figure that out. And then, so my next goal is to publish 4 new patterns this year. I felt like 4 was a fun number. I love how I say I just started. I think I published my first crochet pattern in 2023, and it was in the summer. And I still feel new to the whole design world. I feel like there's a lot of competition, or there's a lot of maybe duplicate patterns, and I feel like there should be room for everybody, only because everyone learns differently and everyone prefers maybe one pattern designer over another. And I know that's how I am. I tend to gravitate more towards like pattern designers that have patterns that are like easy to read and easy to follow. And whenever I do buy a pattern from like a new designer that I've never bought from before, and I see their pattern is kind of thrown together and there is no vibe, I tend to not enjoy it as much. So as for me as a pattern designer, I tend to add a vibe to the pattern. So it takes me a little while to write one. So I figured 4 new patterns this year was a good number. Maybe I have actually like I think 5 or 6 patterns I'm sitting on that I'm just kind of letting simmer, only because it's that light bulb in our head where something is not clicking right. Like the stitch math is right, the gauge is right, and all that stuff is right, but just not the time. Maybe it's not like the right time to release it. Like for example, I have 2 patterns that would do very well in the spring. So like a part of me is like, do I want to do a pattern test now when it's literally the winter time and it will be done and published before the spring, or do I want to do it during the spring when people are excited for a new spring pattern? So that's kind of where I kind of get like stuck. So we'll see what happens on those published patterns. That is all for my business goals. I do have more that I kind of tend to keep to myself, only because they're more on like the financial side. Trying to make sure that I can still provide for my family, and that, I'm trying to see if I could find different ways to have income coming in instead of like always having to do manual labor. So maybe that's something also that you're struggling with or looking into. So if you have any advice, that'd be nice on this little venture of like, work harder, not smarter kind of, or work harder, not smarter. Wow, did I just say that? Work smarter, not harder. At least I make myself laugh. But yeah, that's enough for my small business goals. I do have 2 personal like lifestyle goals that I tend to carry around like every year, except for one. This is a new one. So I last year decided to start reading the Bible. I've never read the Bible before. I am not very religious. I don't think I've ever been very religious. I do come up from a Catholic family, and I was baptized in a Catholic church as a child, but I never actually finished Sunday school. Like I actually dropped out and all that stuff. And but now my daughter goes to a school that is very religious, and I feel like I should learn some of the scriptures so that when my daughter comes home from school and is trying to talk to me about certain things, I kind of know what's going on. So I did pick up reading the Bible. That was like later last year. And I figured as I did that, I was like, I kind of want to read more. Who knew that would just spring from that? Then my eyes just crossed. Anyway, um, I just wanted to read more. And maybe some audiobooks would do great. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts during the day, like while I'm working. So I thought maybe an audiobook might be nice. So I did post something on my Instagram today asking for book recommendations. And if they're an audible book, that's even better. So that is on my goals, to read more this year. Maybe be, you know, have some downtime instead of using my hands all the time. I also wanted to try healthy habits. So I have a terrible habit of staying up late. It's terrible, and I want to blame it on my business only because my brain is constantly going. It is a constant motion. My brain will not shut up, and it's not even things that matter. It's like the silliest things that are going through my mind all the time. And whenever it's time to wind down for the day, or like, take a hot bath or a shower, and then you like lay down in bed and you're in your pajamas, and instead of just like decompressing, I'm like constantly scrolling on my phone or looking through notifications or trying to respond to emails or messages on Etsy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just need to stop. Like when I get into bed, I need to just get off my phone. I don't know if that's going to happen. So maybe the book thing might come into that, where if I have a book, I can read the book before I go to bed and I won't be on my phone. Is that, yeah. See, like most of my goals kind of like intertwine. So we'll see how that goes. But that is all for my goals. And I put on the last one here, I put a little bullet saying have fun. I noticed that the last year, so in 2024, I stopped making made to order items on my Etsy shop. So like for, I think it was like 5, almost 6 years, I was basically making made to order items. So like I would list, let's say, a sweater on my Etsy shop, and I'd be like, made to order, takes 2 to 3 weeks to make. You choose your color, your size, and then once the order comes in, I would start working on it, working on other orders that were coming in, and then I would ship them out. I decided that that was very stressful, and the deadline to having all those orders made and delivered and on time and all that stuff was causing me a lot of stress and anxiety. So I decided to put a stop to that, especially since I was home full time with my daughter. It was very, it almost seemed like it was sucking the life out of me. I was staying up too late trying to get things done, or I would have customers be like asking where the product is, and they weren't reading the processing times, and I couldn't make as quickly as the orders were coming in. And I knew when that was happening, I had to put it at a stop. Like before my daughter was born, I was pretty good at like keeping up with made to order items, and when the order came in, it was pretty much out within the week. But after my daughter was born, it it wasn't gonna happen. So last year I just started making items I wanted to make in the colors I wanted to make. I would just randomly pop it up in my shop for sale, and if it sold, it sold. If it didn't, it didn't. Like I felt like I felt happier making items that I wanted to make on whatever given day and whatever color. And if it sold, it sold. If it didn't, I kind of just let it simmered on Etsy, and it would just kind of sell later on. I also do have one big craft show that I do plan, that I do not plan. I don't plan the craft show, that I do prep for. So throughout the year. So the big event is in October, and it's 3 days. It's a pretty good event. Like, I think every time I've done it, I think last year was my 3rd year. So this will be my 4th year, and all those 3 years were wonderful. So I tend to start prepping for those in the spring, or prepping for that in the spring. I can't talk today. So once the spring hits, I'll start doing like inventory prep and that kind of stuff. So typically, when I make items that are finished and I put them on Etsy and they don't sell, it's okay because it kind of just goes into my inventory bin and it just sits there until the market in October. So yeah, I it's hard to navigate that, especially when you are a type that likes to do things like, let's say for example you're making a stuffed animal and you want to make 10 of them. I'm not that type of person. Like, I like to make one stuffed animal and a certain color, and then I want to just jump onto another project. Like, I think I have ADHD, where like I can't seem to like sit on a pattern for too long. Like, I have to just make the pattern and then I'll do something else, and then maybe I'll get back to the pattern later on. But I can never make anything in bulk ever. Um, Unless I'm pattern writing. So if I'm writing a pattern, typically I'll make the item in like multiple times. So, but yeah, that is basically my goals for 2025. I hope this video is not terrible. I'm not going to edit it that much. I figured I'd just sit down and chat with you guys before I have to run out and grab my daughter. She's in school right now. It is her first day back. So I figured if it was her first day back at school, it is my first day back on YouTube. Because I don't remember the last time I posted, and that's terrible. So let's hope that changes this year. Hopefully that I can maybe come up with some new things to do. I did learn how to knit. I think this was like 6 weeks ago. Maybe we can, you know, do this together and we can learn together. I'm now learning how to not learning how to. I didn't know that these existed for knitting needles. Like, whenever I needed to put the project down, I would literally tie my needles in a knot. So yeah, I didn't know these existed. So I'm new to the knitting world, and maybe you wanted to try knitting and you like were intimidated just like I was. My foot fell asleep. Oh my gosh, don't stay here for too long and your foot will fall asleep. But yeah, so maybe we'll have some fun content on me learning how to knit, and maybe I'll show you what this looks like in the next vlog type thing. I don't know what this is. But yeah, I hope you guys had a wonderful and magical holiday season, and I hope that you guys are having a happy new year so far. It is currently, I think it's the 6th of January, so we're only a few days in. I hope it's been great, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon. But thanks for being here, and happy hooking or needling. I don't know what knitters say, but happy hooking, friends. Bye.